Now, I think it's pretty safe to say that the future of the Star Wars universe seems to be quite expansive, not just with their books, novels, comics, and video games, but also, let's not forget about the new Star Wars TV shows, the new Star Wars movies that are currently in the works as well, by, of course, George, John, and Dave Filoni. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way, guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, everything related to the new Star Wars universe is that a lot of things are beginning to brew behind the scenes over at Lucasfilm between shows like the Ahsoka Tano series, Mando Season 3 and 4, as well as other Star Wars shows that have yet to be announced that will be announced at Star Wars Celebration this year in May. So everything related to what's been happening between Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, and George Lucas on trying to create that balance between what, of course, they're going to be doing with Star Wars Legends and how it's going to meet the overall Disney canon and the overall new Star Wars universe, and exactly how they're going to be treating the franchise from this point on forward. Now, with that being said, however, what's even all the more intriguing has everything to do with what's been going on with Lucasfilm's Kathleen Kennedy behind the scenes over at Lucasfilm. Now, we already know that Kathleen Kennedy has been having a lot of issues with not just the Disney higher-ups, but also with her Acolyte TV show, with many different setbacks and different firings of co-writers and directors of the series that have cost Disney tons of revenue on this show. To this day, I don't really believe that this show is really going to make its 2023 release. It's looking more like it's going to be a 2024 release window, if anything, unless they speed things up and unless there's zero setbacks from this point on forward. But I don't see that happening, but we'll have to wait and see. Overall, on top of all of this, what's even all the more interesting is that with Kathleen Kennedy still working on the Acolyte series for Disney+, both Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are getting ready to begin work on multiple Star Wars projects that will be announced at Celebration of 2022. Now, further, it's noted, however, that behind the scenes over at Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy is said to be having many issues with one of Disney's big decisions with Star Wars overall and the universe, and specifically with Kathleen Kennedy's initial projects. Now, it's described that Kathleen Kennedy has been very angry with Star Wars fans, specifically for voicing their opinion over her work on the Star Wars universe, and how their opinions led to Disney canceling not only her High Republic Star Wars trilogy, but also another Star Wars TV series that was in the works and early development phase by Kathleen Kennedy that also got canceled due to fans voicing their overall opinion over the direction of the Star Wars universe under Kathleen Kennedy's control. Now, however, in a recent interview, Kathleen Kennedy went as far to blame the fans, again, stating, when I see the fandom, I notice that there is a large majority that is a very vocal one, and remains to be overly demanding that puts pressure on the creators working on these shows. Now, let me just stop right there for 1 second of what Kathleen Kennedy is having a problem with. Basically, what she's having an issue with right here is the fact that the vocal majority, which most hardcore Star Wars fans voiced their opinions about Kathleen Kennedy's take on the sequel trilogy movies and what she did with the solo Star Wars story film and how it really failed at the box office. All of those opinions, alright, all of the fans raising their voices led to Disney's higher-ups of ditching Kathleen Kennedy having creative control over the majority of all of these projects like Ahsoka, Mandalorian, Star Wars Andor, and more. So that's good news, the fact that she no longer has creative control over that, and it's been a thing for well over a year now. But she's also very angry over the fact that the fans are the ones that caused this to happen, and also caused the fact that her High Republic trilogy came to an end, as well as another High Republic-oriented Star Wars TV show came to a close by Disney CEO Bob Chapek, calling it quits on that show. Now, the thing about all of this is that Kathleen Kennedy, there is no doubt about it, that she is one that was only wrecking the franchise. She had no remorse over the fact of what she did with the sequel trilogy, especially The Last Jedi by Rian Johnson. She still stands by Rian Johnson's side on what he did with that movie, and if you guys like Episode 8, that is all fine and perfectly okay. You know, let me know what you think about that below in the comments, if you accept or decline the direction of Episode 8. But I think that what Kathleen Kennedy did with the sequel trilogy was inexcusable. What she did was terribly wrong and should have really been planned out from the very beginning. But I digress. So, on top of all of this, Kathleen is described to be very livid with what she calls the vocal fans for not only causing her to lose creative power over the majority of Star Wars projects, but also many of her projects getting cancelled by Disney's higher-ups. Now, Kathleen Kennedy is also described to have tried to convince Disney to reverse their decision on canceling many of her projects that were going to expand the High Republic, now leaving her strictly only with 2 projects, that being the Acolyte and Project Vortex, both of which will focus on that era. Now, Kathleen Kennedy is sticking to her plan with Leslie to actually treating this like a blank canvas, much like what Rian Johnson wanted to do with his Star Wars trilogy that was secretly cancelled. Now, once again, guys, in case you guys did not know this, Rian Johnson's trilogy is no longer a thing by Disney and LUCASFILM. They secretly put a close to all of this. That's exactly why Rian Johnson on Twitter refuses to even talk about this, and why Bob Chapek refuses to even touch on that subject at all about Rian Johnson's Star Wars trilogy. But moving on from all of this, alright? One thing about all of this, additionally speaking, is that Kathleen Kennedy also is frustrated over the fandom not accepting her Acolyte show, and blames fans over the fact that it is not getting much interest or traction due to the vocal fans ruining it for everybody, according to her. Kathleen Kennedy is also described to be very busy and annoyed over the fact that the fans are not accepting her series on anticipating it as much as stories like Kenobi and or Ahsoka, and believes that the fandom is warped for staying attached to George Lucas's vision on the Star Wars universe. Kathleen Kennedy also believes that the fans are misguided with the franchise and don't know what Star Wars is all about when discussing, of course, all of this with many of the creatives for the Acolyte series, which is why she is creating a new meaning to the overall Star Wars universe. Like I say, guys, I mean, before we move on to the next thing that's also very important is that Kathleen Kennedy does not care about fans. She cares about revenue, she cares about business, and that's what it comes off like, right? And that to me is just disgusting when it comes to Star Wars, to say the least. That's how I feel. When you're attached to a franchise this big and this magical, you just have to be passionate about what you're working on. Like John and Dave Filoni, we all saw the passion of what they did with The Mandalorian Season 1 and 2, and the Book of Boba Fett with Luke Skywalker, Ahsoka Tano, and Din Djarin, as well as Grogu being involved. And yes, I know that the Book of Boba Fett was a bit of a speed bump, but you can still see the passion poured in there. You know, it's not coming off as just doing it for the sake of doing it. And that's exactly why I believe shows like Kenobi, Ahsoka, and others out there like Mando Season 3 and 4 are going to wildly succeed and really be far superior than the Acolyte TV series ever will be. I think that they really are on the right path here, and Kathleen Kennedy is really just hitting a brick wall. She's not taking the right turn here. You know, she really passed, the exit or the opportunity to embrace something great, and she's just deciding to do the wrong things. So overall, guys, let me know what you think about all this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to moon we hear them moans again.